Tashi and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines. Look at inner emotions for peace, says His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Sweden to deport Chinese agent convicted of spying on Tibetans. Central Tibetan Administration's condoles demise of former Union Minister Jaswant Singh. Sikyong stresses importance of Tibet for India, China and US. Congressional Executive Commission on China explores restrictions on religious and linguistic rights of Tibetans. Social and Resource Development of CTA SARD launches pioneer study of Tibetans in abroad. Ontario to observe Tibetan Heritage Month. Khensur Tashi Tsering receives Order of Australia Medal. Officers of Tibet organizes panels on resistance against China, history of Tibet. Election Commission announces electoral calendar for 2021 Tibetan general election. In his message to the peace builders as a part of the Conversations That Offer Peace campaign, His Holiness the Dalai Lama advised to look at inner emotion in order to bring positive emotions and thereby creating a peaceful century.
Therefore, automatically, the peace also our responsibility. We human beings who creates a lot of problem, who creates violence, now we have the responsibility to bring peace. So now peace ultimately related with inner peace, or more sort of sense of concern of others' well-being.
The campaign was organized by the Peace Studio, who sought His Holiness's message for its members on Monday this week. His Holiness the Dalai Lama also had a conversation about compassion and mercy, values common to Islam and Buddhism, with Malaysia's Muslim Youth Movement and Tibetan Buddhist Culture Center on Monday this week.
So now I have strong feeling in our education system should include a part of academic subject, not a religious subject. And then that also is for the hygiene of physical, hygiene of emotion, for health reason, not religious faith.
Speaking on the relationship of the Buddhists and the Muslims, His Holiness narrated the story of the selection of 13th Dalai Lama, recognized by a Muslim warlord. A Swedish court has recently moved a decision to deport a 52-year-old Dorji Gensen, who was convicted and sentenced to a 22-month jail term for spying on fellow Tibetans in Sweden for China. According to a prominent Swedish news daily, his expulsion was appealed by Swedish Security Service, SAPO, after the Chinese agent completed his jail term, deeming his presence a threat to the country's security and demanded that he should be forced to leave the country. Dorji was convicted of gross illegal intelligence activity carried out from July 2015 to February 2017 by the Södertörn District Court on 15th June 2018. He was arrested at midnight, 26 February 2017 by SAPO. Central Tibetan Administration condoled the demise of former Union Minister of India Jaswant Singh, who passed away at 82 on Sunday this week. Expressing condolences over Jaswant Singh's demise, President Dr. Lupsang Singh and the Speaker of Tibetan Parliament in Exile, Pema Chungne, expressed their sadness upon learning the veteran leader and Tibet supporter was no more. The Center for Strategic and International Studies hosted Sikyong Dr. Lupsang Singh for a virtual event titled The Geopolitical Significance of Tibet in the Context of India, China and the US on Wednesday this week. In his address, Dr. Singh quoted Mao Zedong's infamous quote where he emphasized the need to control Tibet in order to control India.
Where Mao Zedong said that Tibetan plateau is the palm. we have to occupy the palm. And the five fingers are Ladakh, Nepal, Sikkim, Bhutan, Arunachal Pradesh, right? So in recent years, there's border incursions in all these five fingers is also clearly alarming the Indian subcontinent and South Asia as to why China is so pressed on, making these inroads and intrusion. And in the last 40 years, there was a violence too. I think 20 Indian soldiers were killed and more than 100 injured, right, for the first time.
On Wednesday this week, Congressional Executive Commission held the hearing on China on the human rights situation in Tibet and the international response. The hearing, presided by the chair of Congressional Executive Commission on China, Representative Jim McGovern, saw the presence of members of U.S. Congress, Senator Angus King, Representative Chris Smith, Senator Tom Suozzi, Representative Andy Levin, Senator Gary Peters, Senator Marco Rubio, along with a panel of expert witnesses, including the abbot of Tashi Lumpo Monastery, Zinkap Rinpoche, President of International Campaign for Tibet, Matthew Mikachi, senior researcher and strategist at the Tibet Action Institute, Tenzin Dorji, and China Director at Human Rights Watch, Sophie Ricardson. The chair of the committee, Representative Jim McGovern, called on the U.S. government to update and strengthen its policy towards Tibet and urged the Senate to act on the Tibetan Policy and Support Act, which have been passed by the House of Representatives in January 2020.
It is long past time for the Senate to act on this legislation. Frankly, I'm not sure why it has not moved forward. I hope that my Senate colleagues and all the supporters of all those who support human rights in Tibet will contact the leadership in the Senate and ask them to pass this bipartisan legislation as soon as possible.
Zinkap Rinpoche called on the people and the U.S. administration to continue pressurizing China for information on the disappearance of Panchen Lama.
I call upon sympathetic governments, NGOs, and Tibet support groups to investigate the whereabouts of the Panchen Lama and those abducted with him, so that we have a clear and accurate information on their whereabouts, including current photos of the Panchen Lama, his family members, and Chador Rinpoche.
Matthew Mikachi informed the committee on its Tibet 2020 campaign and appealed the next administration to appoint special coordinator for Tibetan issues on Undersecretary's position.
While talking about the post-election administration, we have launched a Tibet 2020 campaign so that the presidential candidates of both parties are apprised of the American people's strong desire for Tibet to be a high priority. We look forward to working with the White House and Congress in our common objectives of supporting the people of Tibet to regain their rights and dignity.
While pointing out the increasing repression conducted by China without borders, Tenzin Dorji urged the Congress to ensure Chinese consulate abolish their biased visa policy towards Tibetan American citizens.
Tibetans fight for human rights, the freedom to use their language, the freedom to worship freely. These rights are tied together by a deeper yearning for political freedom. Beijing wants to depoliticize the Tibet issue. I urge you to repoliticize it.
The Social and Resources Development Fund, Department of Finance, CTA, launched a comprehensive study of Tibetan diaspora community outside South Asia at the press briefing where Dr. Lupsang Singh and Finance Kanui Karma Yeshi officiated the ceremonial launch of the baseline report on Friday last week. Speaking at the launch, Sikyong said, "This is the first study of the Tibetan communities based abroad, outside of the traditional exile communities of India, Nepal, and Bhutan. The Tibetan population is now divided 50-50 between those within India, Nepal, and Bhutan, and those outside of South Asia. Therefore, it is important to learn the social, cultural, political status of the diaspora communities." Finance Kanui highlighted the main recommendations of the study, including upgradation of the Green Book dues collection process, ways in which Tibetan associations could support CTA initiatives, and strengthening relations between Tibetan associations and CTA. Ontario legislature passed a unanimous bill to recognize the month of July as Tibetan Heritage Month, a bill tabled by NDP member of Provincial Parliament, Putila Karpuche, on Friday last week.
July is a significant month for Tibetans, as on July 6th, Tibetans in Ontario and across the world celebrate the birthday of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet, Tenzin Dorji, who is an honorary Canadian citizen. I want to share with members of this Assembly and to everyone watching at home why recognizing Tibetan Heritage Month is important. Recognizing Tibetan Heritage Month is recognizing the human dignity in each of us.
Putila is the first person of Tibetan heritage to be elected to public office in North America. The bill aims to recognize the important contributions made by Tibetan Canadians in Ontario, as well as bring awareness to Tibetan issues. Khensur Tashi Tsering, former abbot of Gyurme Monastery, now living in Australia, was awarded the Order of Australia Medal from the Governor of Queensland, His Excellency the Honourable Paul D. Jaswant, AC, at the formal ceremony last Thursday. The award was initially announced in June this year. Khensur Tashi Tsering becomes the second Tibetan to receive the prestigious award, as Namgyal Tsering, a resident of Australia, has received a similar award a few years ago. This week, the Office of Tibet Geneva and Office of Tibet London held virtual panel discussions on China's weapons of mass subjugation and on Tibet's King Sonse Gongpo, respectively. Paralleling the ongoing 45th United Nations Human Rights Council session, the discussion on China's weapons of mass subjugation saw panelists discuss Chinese Communist Party's increasing systematic repression on Tibetans, Uyghurs, and Southern Mongolians.
The 21st century concentration camps, forced labors, unveiling massive surveillance on people. And there's the culture genocide of Uyghurs and the Tibetans, and now this is expanding to those living in southern Mongolia, the Mongolians living in southern Mongolia.
More than 20 Tibetan youth in England participated in the live presentation by Dr. Martin Mills, a senior lecturer on anthropology and Tibetan history and culture at the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. The webinar was aimed at creating awareness about Sonse Gongpo, the great Tibetan empire.
He inherited an empire that from his father that was in terrible trouble. So let's understand this, because he held it all together, he put it back together, and he expanded it to include all of the Tibetan plateau.
The Chief Election Commission of CTA announced the electoral calendar for the 2021 Sikyong and 17th Tibetan parliamentary elections as per the Charter of Tibetans in Exile and the Tibetan Electoral Rules and Regulations on Monday this week. As per the announcement, the preliminary election for Sikyong and members of the 17th Tibetan Parliament is slated for 3rd January 2021, and the final election is to be held on 11th April 2021. The Election Commissioner also issued a set of guidelines for shortlisting candidates for the final Sikyong election.
This year, we have decided to produce two, final candidates for the Sikyong 2021, and if the candidates, those who have 18 same equal voting of second candidate, then we will produce 3, and if first candidate does have the same equal number of voting, then we will produce only that 2.
So much for this week. See you next time and have a great weekend.